Welcome to Blooming Wildwood Homestead. We've talked a lot about different items that should be in your pantry. We've looked at stocking up on staple goods and other things that might be considered necessities. But today I want to talk about a couple of categories that I think are commonly overlooked when it comes to adding to your extended pantry and your working pantry. Let's go. No matter what your eating preferences are, there are a variety of condiments as well as herbs and spices that can really enhance the flavor of your food and add a lot to your meal. The first category that I want to start with is condiments. Ketchup is something that I have been purchasing in the past. It's definitely something that I want to work on canning. The other item that I have is some Dijon mustard. You can add that to sandwiches. You can put that as a sauce with vegetables. You can use it with some honey to put on chicken. Lots of options for using mustard. Also in the condiment section, we have barbecue sauce. Whether that's something that you've canned yourself or something that you're buying from the store, this is a great item to have in your pantry. The next item doesn't necessarily fit in the condiments, but it's not an herb, so I guess we'll call it more of a seasoning, but it definitely is something you might want to consider having on hand. Some type of beef stock or chicken stock. While you might not want to use that all the time, and maybe you're making your own and canning your own, which is amazing, you might want to have something available to go ahead and add flavor to your soups and your stews. And if you're not canning your own, or even if you are, this is a pretty shelf-stable way to keep some on hand, and you just make up what it is that you need as you're going to be cooking it. So I don't have to store quarts and quarts of chicken stock, for example. I can just have one small container of bouillon, better than bouillon, and I can add that to water in order to make some type of soup stock. So this is something that I really like having on hand for some of those meals. Kind of along the condiment side of things as well would be the ability to make hummus, or maybe you can't really store hummus on the shelf, so I would keep some items on hand that you could use to make hummus. I have some canned garbanzo beans, and that mixed with some tahini and a few other ingredients, you can make your own hummus, which is great for dipping vegetables in, or even topping your salad with. It's just kind of a nice treat to have on hand, plus it gives a little extra protein as well. So having some canned garbanzo beans and some tahini offers you the option to be able to go ahead and make up some hummus on your own. The next category that we're getting into is herbs and seasonings. With herbs and seasonings, I think that we greatly underestimate how much flavor they can really add to any kind of dish that you're creating. And it's easy to just kind of be going along if you're not keeping stock of what's in your kitchen, and you can end up running out of herbs and seasonings. Now, you don't want to have a ginormous stockpile of them because they will eventually lose their flavor and not be as good of quality as they were when you first picked them up. But I would recommend having a little bit extra on hand just so that you have that available when you are getting into some of those cooking projects. I brought just a few options. There are so many different herbs and seasonings, but these would be a few that I would just consider some of my basic staples when it comes to this category. The first one is some type of all-purpose seasoning. So with the garlic and herb seasoning, it has a little bit of that garlic flavor in there. It also has a little onion, red bell pepper, and you're gonna find a combination of some oregano, thyme, basil, parsley, marjoram, all of those things added together in a nice seasoning. This is great on meat as well as vegetables, and is just kind of an all-purpose seasoning mix. The next two items, I love these flavors for pretty much, I don't know, a lot of different things. Ground beef, I like to add it to chicken. They're kind of, again, two of my go-tos, and that would be cumin as well as some chili powder. Both of those items add a lot of zest and a little bit more of that spicy taste to a lot of the things that I like to cook. You want to make sure that you have a good supply of salt. This is something that can be used for a lot of preserving as well as a lot of flavor enhancement. On the idea of having things available for preserving, I also wanted to remind people that you might want to have some canning and pickling salt on hand as well. I like to use this in my brines and different things for my dill pickles and dilly beans, all of the canning things that I'm doing. And then of course, the standby pepper, again, goes with everything. Pepper is something that stores pretty well. I like to grind it myself. I like the flavor of that just a little bit better. So I'll store whole peppercorns and then add those to the grinder as I need to. Now, these are items that mostly have been purchased from the store. One of the things that I want to get better at this year is growing more of my own things. When it comes to different kinds of herbs that you can grow yourself, there are quite a variety that are available to go ahead and add to your garden. You can either start these from seed, or you could go ahead and buy a transplant to add to your herb garden. Just adding herbs and spices can be the difference between something that's more plain and something that is so full of flavor. A few of the items that I'm planning to add to my garden this year would be cilantro, sage, tarragon, marjoram, basil, dill, fennel. Oh, and I already started some thyme, which is just tiny little baby plants. Additionally, I want to give a try to starting some mustard seed this year. I really enjoy the flavor of Dijon mustard. I enjoy adding mustard seed to some of my fermented items, specifically the pickles that I had tried last year. And so I'm going to give this a try and see if I can make my own Dijon and see if I can go ahead and raise the quality of seed needed for my ferments. I hope today's video was helpful for you. Let me know in the comments below, what are some condiments or herbs and spices that you like to keep on hand, and let's share some of those ideas with each other. If you enjoyed today's video, don't forget to like it, and we would love to have you subscribe and be part of our community here at Blooming Wildwood Homestead. Until next time, bye everyone.